I just noticed this is episode 250, the 250th consecutive Thursday that I have uploaded some thoughts about warehouse and operations as a career. I thought today I'd try and get a couple of questions answered, and I wanted to mention how important that knowing what we ask for is really what we want when it comes to our careers. We'll circle back to that in just a few minutes, though. Let's get a couple of questions answered, or at least I can share my opinions on a topic or two. Okay, here is question number 1. So a listener from up north, and that's her location, just up north, is upset and asking why are companies running everyone through an agency versus just hiring us outright? All right, and I kind of agree. So I do believe I'm seeing more organizations utilizing the skills and advantages of sourcing companies or staffing agencies a bit more than what I used to. I think it's been a developing trend for, probably around 4 or 5 years now. I'm even seeing facilities with their own HR departments who will hire all positions except the operations task or warehouse positions, and they hand those over to different agencies. Now, there's going to be a couple of reasons for that. I think one of them, maybe the biggest reason, is that the operations management teams may want to interview all prospective applicants anyway. I mean, they know the skills they're needing and what they're really looking for. I had a VP of Ops tell me once that he'd never seen an HR generalist at his company that had ever came up, or was brought up through the warehouse. And by the same token, I had a VP of Human Resources explain that she'd never been able to make a hire that had really pleased her ops team before. And I think another reason is just simply due to the cost of onboarding an individual in today's world. They could have advertising, the cost of background and drug screenings costs to consider. And the amount of time a generalist or company recruiter might spend asking the right questions for the interview, or having to read a very descriptive job description to an applicant that they may not understand themselves. And I think it's important for us to remember that, every company is not for every job seeker, and nor is every applicant a great fit for a company or a job task. By using an agency, well, it may just benefit both parties at a much lower cost. As a new hire to a large corporation, we may have to go to something like 3 interviews, maybe a day-long orientation, and then a week's worth of corporate training before we actually go perform our hired task, only to find out that this is just not the place for me. And it's really the same for the company. Before they invest so much time in us, just as we just did with them, well, they may realize that it's just not going to be a good fit in a particular position and will need to find something else for us. And another quick thought is that if we cannot properly perform the task that we stated we could, on our application and during our interview, well, all that liability then falls on the agency. And then, yes, there are those companies out there that are going to mislead us and our staffing agency by saying the position is temp to perm, yet only occasionally hire or bring someone on their payroll. It happens, but I hope such outfits are few and far between. So what's on the downside, you may ask? That all sounds pretty positive. Well, the hourly rate for most of the light industrial tasks will be a little less than the company's pay rates, when you're onboarded with them. Many call this a carrot. Something to look forward to in 60 or 90 days once you've fulfilled, your contract with the agency. Our goal is to be that employee that is always on time for every scheduled shift, doing a great job so we can be an asset that they want on their teams permanently. I really want to point out, don't let the fact that your targeted company, the place that you really want to work, only hires through an agency. Don't let that be your deciding factor regarding a job. Go and apply, accept the position, and get started on your career. It's really just a business decision, and we're going to continue to see more and more of it, I think. Okay, sticking to our why type of questions, I recently was asked, and it comes up a lot more often than you think it would, but we had a very nice lady ask what is so special about operating a sweeper/scrubber unit. At her facility, they have only 2 people authorized to run it. One sanitation person, and then the supervisor covers for him when the associate is off or calls in. She states that they will train no one else. She says she doesn't care if it's her or another team member, but someone needs to be trained to use it. Now, she is correct, of course, but her management team may be so strict about its operation because there is a lot of responsibility and know-how to running those units. I was taught on a combo unit myself, a large propane unit. Our dry and cooler area was about, I think around 410,000 square foot when you put it together. The things you have to watch out for are the brushes and the blades or the squeegees in particular. A large unit like that will have a circular brush on the front right side of the unit. Its role is to sweep loose debris under our unit so the vacuum in the middle can suck it up and deposit it into the dry holding tank. Then we'll have a long horizontal brush located under our machine just forward of the vacuum device, and its sole job is to pick up any loose debris and apply a little scrubbing pressure should something be stuck to the floor or maybe very granular debris, and push it to the vacuum piece. I can tell you from experience those brushes are expensive. We can easily wear them out, just really down to nothing if we're not careful. If we do not understand how to apply pressure at the right time and in the right amounts, well, we've just spent a lot of money. The scrubber functions? Now here is where we can really tear things up if we don't know what we're doing. A squeegee will be attached to a flexible rod. It's kind of a guide post at the back of the unit. Lowering it to the ground too soon is going to damage it. Turning on the solution flow too late will damage it. And turning, the solution on too early, and your squeegee is just going to spread it around the edges of our unit. This piece is very, very expensive to replace or have adjusted. Again, I learned that the hard way. I hope that our management teams understands our desire to learn more and that we want to take on more responsibilities. But it's important that we remember they answer to a boss as well. Maybe he or she is just following orders. Now, I think she's done all the right things, though. Her manager knows that she wants to be the next sweeper or scrubber operator. I can't help but think it's going to happen. Well, where was I? Oh, yeah. Earlier, I mentioned it was important that we understand what we ask for because we may just receive it. Always have an exit strategy is my philosophy. When we go to our management team and ask to be taught or move to another task, it's important we expand on the comment just a little bit. I know of a young man right now that went to his supervisor about 14 months ago wanting to be an order selector. He was coming from a day will call position, but he wanted to go nights as a selector so he could earn the productivity incentives. And you know what? He has done a great job. After about 6 months, he was the top selector, the top earner of his whole group. Great job, right? Yes, but he now wants to move to become a forklift operator. Had he told his boss 14 months ago something like, "Hey boss, I'd like to be an order selector for a while, maybe then become a lift operator. Can you hook me up, or what can I do to earn that opportunity?" Maybe he'd have a little bit better chance than where he's at right now. What he did say 14 months ago was, "Hey boss, I'll go nights and be your best order selector." Now his boss has a great guy, pulling over 200 cases an hour every night, every hour, and now he's asking to be transferred again. It's not really setting well with his boss. Management feels like they gave him the opportunity that he wanted, that he asked for. Here is where I can throw in my planning and goals sentence. If we think things through, we will control the outcomes much better. It's just fact and it's truth. Well, I hope I mentioned something that helped you out this week. Oh, and we have some guests coming up this month. I'm putting those shows together right now. You won't want to miss these two individuals. We're going to have a great time. Until next week, think it through and be safe in all we do.